It all started when I had a friend who brought me a CD of like the first psychedelic trance that I can recall. I think it was in 2003, which most of my label friends were already like deep in the scene and like performing, and I was like a kid. I think I was like 15 or 14 or 15 when he brought me the first CD. And then I studied in an agricultural school, so we had a studio. So I basically just like started playing around with like stuff in the studio there. Then I took Cubase home for the first time. I think it was like 2005 or like when I started making music. And ever since, like, I've been hooked. This is how I started. I just got a CD when I was 13 and then started making music. And ever since, this is what I do. I've never done anything else. So it's like, it feels natural, you know what I mean? This is who I am. I was a huge Omega fan. I know it sounds like weird, but like I grew up on like Asterix, Pixel, Sub-6, Domestic. Basically, most of my nowadays friends, like I'm happy and like I'm proud that I can call them my friends today. They were my my influences. This is how I started. I also liked Bamboo Forest. I remember I liked like Ace Ventura in the beginning and like Liquid Soul, and like I of course I loved Ace Ventura's Psy-6 as well. But yeah, most of these artists are like my childhood heroes, so it's a big thing for me to be part of this amazing group. I truly believe that each one of them has his own unique style and like color and trademark, so it's good to be among them. I was like 15 years old, so first of all, I'm happy that my name doesn't has something with Psy in it or like something really like funny, because Freedom Fighters is like the list of the words that you can like choose when you're 15. So I just chose the name at some point and then like started making music, and I don't know how. I don't think my music was good enough for playing, but like for some reason I got invited. I did the first gig in Russia when I was like 17 and a half. And then like I spent my graduation ceremony in Brazil on my first tour. So it's just like, it was really organic. I never had like a dream to be an artist, or I didn't like, I don't know, grew up with like piano between my fingers. It's just like, just happened organically. And I'm really happy because I fell in love with music while I was like part of this world. It wasn't something that I was born into music. It's just like, I grew up in a musical house. Like my dad used to listen to a lot of music, so music wasn't like something that was like far-fetched for me, but still I just started making music and everything just flew in an organic way ever since. Actually, it's funny. I think that maybe in a few years I'll actually like be able to sit down and really say like, this is so cool. I'm like part of a group of people that I grew up on. But it feels like there was like a huge evolution. I think the whole trance scene really evolved in general, and more money became like part of the business. So when you have more money, then people invest more, and then like people started investing in like better studios and better equipments, and like everything just became more high tech. And the same thing happened with the music. If you listen to music from like Omega music, from like 20 years ago or 15 years ago, it was good, but now it feels like there is a certain evolution in like the sound and production and the way like the whole EDM and everything, like the whole big scene of like electronic music really influenced how trance sounds nowadays. We have like we get to see how big artists like the EDM ones, how they rock a dance floor, and we kind of like somewhere we want to do it as well. So we get like really influenced, not necessarily by their music or sounds, but like the way they build their music or like the way they approach music, and that makes trance much more approachable to the younger crowd and like to people who will not necessarily grew up on like psychedelic festivals. Nowadays you can hear like the same kid who listens to Rihanna and like, I don't know, like Ghastly or Skrillex, he can listen to Psytrance and enjoy it. And you see it like, I don't know, like Vini Vici, who's doing something amazing. They're like crossing over to like a really huge scene, and like you can see that they have so much response and like good feedback from the mainstream, which makes you like, if you would say that would happen like 20 years ago, I don't think anybody would have thought that something like that would have happened. So I think we're finally part of the scene, of the electronic scene, and we're getting the much more respect than we used to get. Like you see it when we're playing like the biggest festivals in the US, or like a State of Trance, or like stuff like that, where you actually see that we have like our own Psytrance stage. Armin van Buuren hosts his own Psytrance stage at a State of Trance. It would have never happened like 15 or 20 years ago, not in Omega, and I don't think anywhere. So basically I think we're only like, you know, it's going towards even a better place. Everything just looks better now. When I grew up on it, it was really more underground than it is right now. So I'm happy to see that things are evolving and there's place for everybody, basically. Funny story. Okay, so I was always a fan of Omega, as I said. Like this was my like favorite label. I swear I'm not saying this for the camera. It's like the truth. I used to like go into like the website every time to check if they did like a new top 10, because each artist would like post a top 10 with like lots of unreleased stuff, and as a child I was really intrigued by it. How I got to Omega, that's kind of funny. I just did an EP. I did like it all started when I did a track with Sub 6, and then like Ohad from Sub 6 kind of like liked my stuff, and he told Eyal about it, and that was the first interaction that I think Eyal had with me. And I released a remix that Sub 6 and I did for Liquid Soul on Omega. That was the first release. And then I just like, I started being like part of the whole crew over there. I got to know Pixel and like Black and White and all that, and I started working with them. And before I even made a track like with them, after I did the whole Sub 6 collab, I did an EP, which I did like a track by myself, a track with Illumination, which was part of Omega back then, and a track with Skazi, which was like part of Omega. And then like I just came to Eyal, I called them up and I was like, listen, I have an EP to send you. It was like 2011, I think. And I sent him the EP, and then he invited me over for a meeting. And the rest is history. It was like a dream come true. I remember I was like so young. I think I was like 2011. I was like 21 when I signed in Omega, and I was like the youngest, you know, because all of these artists are like minimum like 8 years older than me. So it was a cool experience to be among these amazing artists as a child. I was kind of a child. So yeah, that was the first EP in 2011, and ever since then, I'm like 100% Omega. Like I released my music there mainly, and like my first album came out there, and my second will come out soon. So I'm full on Omega. Peace. Quality over quantity for sure. I don't need to say more than that. We're really good friends. You know, it's funny. Like people say, like sometimes people think that maybe just because you're in a label with someone, then you have to be friends with them, or you have to be like part of the same crew. But in Omega, it's actually true, because most of us, we live next to each other. Like Domestic Pixel and I, and like Astrix, and Eyal, we basically live like a couple of kilometers away from each other, so we see each other a lot, and we're really like good friends. I can't think of even like one person in the label who's not my friend. Like I'm cool with everybody, and everybody's cool with everybody. We have no hard feelings or like no fights and shit. It's a group of like top-notch producers, in my opinion, and each one of them has his own thing. Like nobody sounds like anybody. Astrix doesn't sound like Pixel, and Pixel doesn't sound like Sub 6, and so on. So we don't have competition between us. I want to see my friends succeed, you know what I mean? I want to see Pixel come up with like the best track, and Infected, and like Astrix. I want them to succeed, because it feels like once one of us does something good, then the rest of us, like, we get like, it's good energy for all of us. So it's a family for me. I'm in the midst of like finishing my brand new album, my second album, which has like some cool collaborations. There is a track that I can't talk about right now, which is with one of my label friends, which we're like keeping on the underground for now. There's like tracks with, I did a track with Sensient and with Mr. Bill, so it's kind of more Australian, and one with Evil Oilman, which is like Xenon vibe, and Tycoon and Rocky, and like Outsiders. So second album is gonna be like more melodic than the first one, probably just more approachable. The first one was kind of dark, for me at least, my kind of dark. Second one is more approachable, and I'm doing a compilation for Xenon Records, so it's like, you know, I'm trying to bring the underground side of like things into the, I don't want to say mainstream, but more to the forefront, because I think they deserve it. They make amazing music over there. Freedom to be yourself, freedom, I don't know, just like no judgment. When you go to a festival, like, you can see each person. Like when you go to a trance festival, like a Psytrance festival in Australia, for instance, people are like wearing costumes and like makeup, and people are like 90% naked, and like everybody's in such a good vibe. Nobody judges you in any way, and that's Psytrance for me. You don't see it when you go to a hip hop party. Hip hop is amazing, yeah, but it's like, it's not the same vibe when you go and like there's a huge like rig of like the best sound ever, and everybody's like in their own zone, and everybody's tripping. That's Psytrance for me. It's something. It's not just music. It's like, it sounds like a cliche, but it's a way of life. It's like not judging and be like as cool as you can with your environment and with people around you, and lots of like peace, love, unity, bullshit, and respect. You know, it's cliche, but it's true. Wow, tricky question. My first time in Mexico was in 2007. I think it was my probably the third time I played, or the fourth time I played outside of Israel. I was like 18 or 17. It was with Utopia back then, which was like a full-on label of like, I used to make, before I got into Omega, I used to make like full-on music, which is more melodic and more, felt a bit more cheesy for me. It took me time to like, I was a child, so like, when I grew up, I started making other music, like other type of music. But when I did that, I was in Mexico for the first time, which was like 2007. It was, I think the party was called Back to Heaven, and I think it was here, actually. It was in Guadalajara for the first time. And I still remember it, like I still remember playing there, and I still remember like the feeling of like encountering Mexican crowd for the first time, which was amazing. And ever since then, you know, like tacos and micheladas, like once a year at least. Gotta have it. Cool. Dude, my best experience in Mexico. Wow. First of all, the day I discovered taco was like one of the best days ever. I was in this hotel. I think it was the first time I ever tried it was like in Mexico City, not in Guadalajara. And I went down from the hotel. We had like a small taco place. It was like, it looked like if I'm gonna eat there, I'm gonna die probably, because it's like in the middle of the street and everything is like dirty and shit. And I'm like, I'm doing it. This is like hardcore street food. I want to try it. And I remember trying it. It was one of the best things that I've ever tried. Pastor, amazing. Rojo, and yeah, that was a great experience. And I had some really good tours over here, and like great parties in Mexico City. Lots of the Omics parties was amazing. They were amazing throughout the years. Atmosphere, which is always like a cool experience, playing for like, I don't know, 20,000 people or whatever. So yeah, it's cool, man. I mean, Mexico is always a good place to come back to. I always like to go where you have like good food. If there's good food, then I'm happy. Basically, that's all I need. Tacos, micheladas, rojo. Hi, I'm Freedom Fighters, and I'm in Mentes Urbanas.